Hello, everyone, and welcome to our vlog for today. So, in today's vlog, I want to talk about the essential energy behind the Tower card in the tarot. But before we get into that, why am I bringing this up? And the reason I am is because last month, our tarot card for the month was the Devil card, and that was the essential energy behind that was just looking at different patterns of behavior that no longer positively serve us and letting those go. And now, here in August, we have the Tower card. Now, traditionally, the Tower card is all about sudden change, upheaval, so forth and so on. But the essential energy behind that card, at least from my perspective, is about transformation and rebirth. And so first, let's talk about why is it that we have such a hard time like with this transformation? Like, why do we hold on to these things that we either consciously know are no longer good for us or subconsciously know are no longer good for us, but yet we hold on to them so tightly that when these quote unquote tower moments come, like, the sudden shift or change comes, we kind of get knocked on our ass. And, maybe we go into this like poor, pitiful me, victimhood type of thing. And what I've come to realize is that the reason that is because our ego so identifies with, either a relationship or a job or what we do or our political views, our religious views, and says, this is who I am. And it kind of puts us in this little box and says, okay, this is who I am from now on. And that's really why we resist change, because we're like, okay, it doesn't fit inside this box, or, oh no, the box is falling apart. And the box is falling apart, not because spirit is punishing us, not because spirit is saying we're doing a bad thing, but it's falling apart because it is not part of who we are in truth. We are beings of unlimited potential. And to put ourselves inside this little teeny box, that is not the will of spirit. The will of spirit is for us to be happy and free. But we have to really come inside when these tower moments start happening and really look at, okay, what was my part in this relationship? Because one thing I've come to also understand is we are in relationship with everything. No matter if it's a house plant, your pets, or even the furniture you sit on, you are in relationship with it. And so we have to look at, okay, like, what's my part here? What was the part that I played in maybe this falling apart? And that could be looking at, I like to say, let's look at the egoic way and the spiritual way, or altruism. And the best way that I can really explain this to you or kind of give you an example is when I was younger, the one thing I loved was I wanted to be a teacher. I like first grade, like, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a teacher. And I'll tell you, my most egoic reason for wanting to be a teacher was because I was in control. Everyone had to pay attention to me. It was like, and that's what it was all about, the control aspect. I got to control everything. Now, the most altruistic reason is because I absolutely love sharing what I know and seeing that aha moment, that clarity, that understanding lit in someone, and then being able to give them tips, tools, techniques, like whatever they need in order to continue on that pathway that they're on, that realization that they had, or that understanding. That is what brings me so much joy. And that's what we have to start looking at when these tower moments come. It's kind of just doing a self inventory and just being like, okay, am I really happy here? Because I'll tell you, when I first started doing this, I was doing, readings, and readings are great. Readings are wonderful. I love to do the readings because, again, what do I love to see? I love to see the clarity. I love to see the understanding. But what I was missing was being able to have deeper conversations with people and to help them kind of go in that direction that they wanted to go, giving them a tip, giving them a tool, or maybe finding out where that block was that was kind of stopping them. I didn't have that opportunity within the 30 minutes or the hour to really do that. I could give tips and tools. I still give tips and tools, but I just didn't feel like I had that ability to like really sit with someone and be like, let's just talk about this, where we are right now. And so I had to come to that realization. And it was a little bit of a tower moment for me because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to be doing just readings now, and really shifting out of that. And my ego did not want any part of it. It was like, you're just going to fail. You know, who are you to give advice to people? I mean, your life isn't together any more than anyone else's. I mean, just chatter, 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 on and on and on it went. And yet I felt that nudge from spirit more strongly. And I was like, this is something I want to do. And when it comes to the way I look at transformation, my own personal view, transformation is not about you becoming something new. It's about you unveiling the truth or embodying more of the truth of who you already are. And that's what I felt, that taking that step from just doing readings to really providing my spirit sessions and my mentorships, that's what that was going to help me to do, to help tap into that more and to stop limiting myself to just being like, okay, well, here are our cards, you know, and that's kind of it. And this helped to expand that. It helped me to unveil more and be more open to spirit. Because that's something else when it comes to transformation is we have to let go of everything we think and think we know and be willing to be taught. And that's something else that the tower can teach us is how rigid we may have been in a particular part of our lives where we may have just been like super rigid and been like, well, I already know everything. Well, if you already know everything and there's nothing else for you to know, then where is there room for spirit? There is none, because you've already said, I know everything. So you're not willing to be taught anything new. And, you know, when it comes to foundations, you know, that's something else I really feel that spirit asks us to transform when we go through these tower moments, is to go through this transformative process of looking at that foundation and being like, was it built on love? Or was it built on greed? Or was it built with truth? Or was it built on me deceiving myself? Where was this built? And if it was built on love, great, wonderful. But maybe as you started building it, maybe that love got a little distorted. Maybe ego started to take it in another direction that maybe wasn't as fluid or as conducive to the original like start of it. And again, that's another tower moment where spirit's like, hey, you're out of alignment with like what this was built on. So let's just kind of, you know, let's just restart here, because that's not part of you. That's not the truth of you. That's not why you started this. You didn't start this, you know, to be rich, to be famous. You did this because why? Maybe you wanted to help people. Maybe you wanted to be of service. Maybe you just wanted to spread knowledge, like whatever it is. And spirit's always going to bring us back to that original intention, that original foundation. And even if that foundation was maybe not the best, like maybe there was some ego in there, just like I told you, like when I was younger, the reason I wanted to be a teacher was because I wanted to be in control. That was super egoic. I'm not going to lie about it. But the altruism in that was sharing the knowledge in order to help people gain greater clarity, gain greater understanding, having that aha moment, and then being able to have the tools and tips to help them to move forward. That's the truth. And that's where I wanted to build from. And if that control mechanism started to get in the way, don't worry, spirit will say, no, thank you. And again, it'll allow you to build it back bigger, better, and stronger. That's what that rebirthing aspect is. So if, you know, you built it from love, but then maybe you went off the rails a little bit, that's okay. Spirit's just going to assist you and say, hey, this aspect of it isn't working for you. It's not part of the truth of who you are. And so therefore, let's have a little bit of rebirth, a little bit of regeneration as we come in and kind of do a self-inventory on, okay, where was I really headed with this? Like, let's say maybe, for example, you wanted to get into a relationship because you really wanted to experience more love. And maybe you did it because you didn't really feel secure or safe or whatever the case is. And so every partner that you ever went towards was always trying, you were always trying to find that safety and security, yet you never found it. And it was always kind of reflecting back to you, your own insecurities. And each relationship crumbles and falls. Well, because again, is it built from love or is it built from a lack of love or not feeling like you are able to be loved or feeling secure or feeling safe? Spirit is not trying to take things from you. It is trying to illustrate to you that this is not who you are. And this belief, this idea that it was built on is no longer valuable to you. It no longer holds value. It's not the best of ideas to build from. And so we have to, again, be willing to be okay that life is always helping us to unveil more of the truth of who we are. And sometimes it seems like life is taking everything from us and, we just have to build from scratch. And when those type of things happen, believe you me, I've been through that type of that very radical transformation. For those of you that have followed me for any extent of time, you know that I worked at KinderCare from the age of like 18 to the age of 30, full time. I was Mr. Ron. Everyone knew me. I could go into a classroom, snap my fingers, kids would listen. I had activities, I had stories. People would call me into their classrooms and be like, Mr. Ron, we need your help because, they're not listening or I'm not able to get them to like do this activity. Can you help me do it? Bus driver, I could run the center, do the money stuff, get on the computer, enroll people. Like I knew it all. And again, I want you to notice what I said. I knew it all. So where was there any room for spirit? There was none. So then there came a time where a situation occurred where I could leave or I could stay in my position, stay with my availability, all that, but basically be under a microscope. And I would have to watch every P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z that I did. And I didn't feel like that's not who I am. I'm not someone who can work under those kind of conditions. So I left. And let me tell you, when I left, I made that decision. I felt like my whole life fell apart because everything I thought I was that job. Everyone I thought was my friend at that job. Then when I left, no longer had those friends. Well, I won't say all of those friends. I still had some of those friends. But I mean, a good majority, just like everything shifted, everything changed. And it seemed like spirit took everything from me. And oh, let me tell you, I was in the victimhood mentality. How could you do this to me? All I wanted was to, you keep telling me it's just to be happy that your will for me is to be happy and free. Well, I'm not happy. Well, why wasn't I happy? I wasn't happy because I had identified myself, or I had gone with my ego and identified myself wholly and completely with that job and said, that's who I am. And so then for me, thank goodness I had the Course in Miracles to help me with forgiveness, to help me through that. Now, did it make it any easier? Yes. Did it make it any shorter? Not really. For me, I went through like a 6-month depression. I mean, lost tons of weight. Let me tell you, lost lots of weight there, not in a healthy way, but I did lose weight because I just wasn't eating. I just wasn't eating, wasn't doing much. And like I said, thank goodness I had the course because it was helping me to heal those aspects. I was able to hand it over to spirit. And that's that other thing with transformation is not to think that because like I said, to me, my life was over. I said, that's it, spirit. My life is over. I now have no will. I have nothing to do. I am now completely, I'm a waste of space. Isn't it? because I wasn't working there anymore and I didn't know who I was without that job. And that then, the course introduced me to the saying, and I'm just paraphrasing it. Spirit, I don't know what this is for. Please decide for me. And that one phrase began to shift and change everything, because it was about me letting go of what I thought my life should look like and really allowing spirit to guide it more, to really allow spirit to be a part of the transformative process, instead of me just being like, well, now I got to forge a whole new identity. And instead allowing spirit to help me to unveil more of the truth of who I am in each moment. And to me, that is the essential essence of the tower. It's about this transformation. Yes. Are we going to get stuck in our ego sometimes? Yes. Is spirit going to come along and help us and maybe destroy, or maybe kind of sweep away or shift things around where things kind of get shaken up and, then we got to realign? Yes. But it's not spirit punishing you. It's not spirit making you a victim. It's spirit helping you. Because you may be so stuck, just like I was. I mean, 18 to 30, that's a long stint of time to be at a place. And I had fully invested my whole entire self into that. And so then to have to no longer have that, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to do. And that was my big tower moment. And it was scary, but even though it was scary, thank goodness I knew I had spirit to help me through that process of transformation, to help me rebuild and come into this like rebirth, and to build a firmer foundation for myself of love, of happiness, of joy, of freedom. And so this month, there may be some stuff shaking up for you. Now, it doesn't have to be as drastic as what mine was. It could be as little as that one where I wanted to shift and change just doing readings to really doing readings and mentorships, and maybe not even doing like card readings, but having my spirit sessions where people will just come and we'll talk about, whatever's kind of going on in their lives, and I'll pick up on whatever spirit wants me to let them know. And that has been something that has been eye-opening and amazing. And I love it, because again, aha moments and that clarity, that understanding, all comes into play. And so spirit may be shuffling stuff up for us. It's not for us to be afraid. Instead, it's to say, Spirit, I don't know what this means. And so I want you to decide for me about this. And you can add, please don't let me use this for my destruction, but instead for the coming of my peace. And again, you're asking spirit for its help. You're inviting spirit instead of deciding that you already know. Instead of saying, well, I already know what this means. You don't. And you have to be okay with that. And that's a part of that transformation, is not necessarily knowing where you're going, just understanding that it's somewhere better than where you are right now, somewhere that's going to serve you better in whatever way, shape, or form, be that a relationship, be that a business, be that a mindset, just having that understanding of spirits guiding me towards something better. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye for now.